mastermind, Nouriched Soul, where we heal word by word. I am so glad that you decided to come back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about taking accountability for your life. Accountability is being aware of yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your opinions, your beliefs, and taking responsibility for those. I think that it's so important that people take accountability for their life. Like, ask yourself, like, are you ready to take accountability for your own life? Are you tired of saying, like, this is just the way that I am? Like, I hear that so many times and I'm like, no sis, if you did the inner work, you would be all right. But, you know, like, it's time that we take accountability. And, you know, things that have happened to you, did you deserve for that to happen? Absolutely not. Like, I don't care if you didn't heal your childhood trauma. I don't care if you were super nice and like everybody told you like, no sis, no, and you still was like, but it's fine, they're fine. You know, you still didn't deserve it. Like, nobody deserves to be hurt, traumatized, or like abused or any of that sort of thing. Like, nobody deserves that. Nobody. I don't care what you did. But at the end of the day, like, after everything is said and done, like, you can't change the past, but you can move on. You can learn to move on. You can learn to become the better version of yourself, and be able to walk in the strength of your identity, your story, and have a nourished and rich life and live it to the fullest. One thing that I had to realize is that, like, I can't change other people's thoughts, opinions, actions, beliefs. I can't change other people. Like, all the time, like, I personally was getting in relationships and I knew that I would have to pray for that person constantly because they had major issues. I knew that, but I still would commit to that relationship on the idea of like, well, they have great potential, like, God just needs to work on them, you know. And I thought that I could pray it away and change them. And like, it took me a while, like, to admit, like, Alyssa, like, you're not the fixer upper, you know. Like, I was trying to in a way, like, be God, because God is the only person that could fix anybody. Okay, Jesus is the only person that can heal anybody. That's not me. But here I was, like, getting yoked up and soul tie in like friendships and stuff with people that, like, I knew that, like, no, like, they don't want to change and they have some major work to do. And that's one of the things you have to realize. You have to take accountability for the fact that you let people into your life that were not good for you. Should you shame yourself? Absolutely not. Accountability is not shaming yourself. It's just being aware so that you can release yourself from what you did that, you know, you realize, and as well as, like, you could change that, you know. Like, I don't know, like, I'm a huge advocate of reflecting and stuff, but I do it in a healthy way. I do it to put a name to the things that I've dealt with. Like, it's hard to just be like, out of nowhere, oh, you deal with shame. Like, no, like, I need to, like, be able to visualize, like, what in my life is like a pattern, you know. So I like reflecting, but you have to do it in a healthy way. Otherwise, you'll be like shaming and condemning yourself on things that you've done in the past. You can't change the past. So shaming yourself, that's not gonna, you know, do you any good either. It's just taking accountability for what happened, seeing yourself, seeing the things that you can change, seeing the things that you allow. And I mean, like, tread lightly on the word allow, because some things you didn't do anything. So if that scenario fits, then yes, use it. So yeah, it's your job to take ownership of the things that you did or said. And it doesn't necessarily mean going to apologize to somebody. Not every situation is safe to do that or to like open back up that door. So no, not all the time. But what you can do is like repent if need be, and also just give a voice to that thing that was hidden. Like a lot of times those hidden things, like if you don't give them a voice, if you don't get them out, what happens is you shame yourself. You try to hide it. You try to kind of like better yourself, like you kind of deny it. That's how pride comes into play. That's when you hear people say like, oh, it's just the way that I am. Like they know that something's wrong with that. They really do. But now they've literally built this whole image on how it's right, and they know that it's wrong. That's why people will say it's just how I am. No, like you know that you need to do some inner work, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to admit that you have a problem. So just admitting it, giving it a voice, talking to God is a great way to get things out. It's up to you to do what you need to do in order to heal that area so that you don't wound anybody else. By anybody else, I mean yourself too, because like honestly, like my unhealed things from like childhood is what got me wounded. Like I wounded myself kind of, sort of, by not healing up that hole. And it's not to say that I deserved it, because nobody deserves it. Again, I just don't want anybody coming to my channel and feeling that way. But it's just a matter of sometimes we make decisions based off of unhealed wounds that lead to a lot of consequences, and that's what happened in my life. So yeah, you're accountable for healing the things that you haven't dealt with. You can't blame yourself for things that you didn't know at the time. If it was hidden, how can you blame yourself for that? You can't. But you can acknowledge it once you figure it out. You can give that a voice and dig deep just to dissect that and establish boundaries, how you need to work on that. A huge thing for taking accountability for your life is going to be putting an emotion with like what you're feeling, or identifying where like a thought or something you said or a behavior came from. Like, why did I say that? Like, is it simply because you're angry, or like is it, oh, because you're angry about feeling rejected again? You know, like you really have to kind of like sit with your emotions, not try to like hurry them along, but actually sit with them. As humans, yeah, we're just gonna have moments where like, I don't know why that happened. It is what it is. I'm having a bad day. But certain things, like if you journal, you'll be able to pinpoint like, man, this is a common factor, you know? So those are the things that you definitely need to deal with and work on. On the flip side, you don't want to reflect on your past to the point where it's hindering you and like you're shaming yourself and you're not living in the present. Like you have to move on. There's a saying that it says, well, the longer you look at something, you're gonna be able to find the bad in anything. For me, in the beginning, it's like I did all this reflecting and it was like, they did this, they did that. But like, I didn't even see myself. Like I wasn't actually getting any fruit on it. Like I was just getting triggered by thinking about it again. And like, you know, like it wasn't actually like healthy for me. And the goal is to like, you know, reflect in a healthy way. It's not just to bring up old emotions and stuff like that. That's not what it's for. Taking accountability for your life is simply like owning what you see, and that's up front. and acknowledging when you see something so that you can voice it, fix it, or change it. You will get more in life if you take accountability for your own life. You will be able to have a nourished and a rich life by taking accountability. You can't keep making excuses. You can't keep avoiding your patterns. You can't avoid the inner work that you need to do. You have to commit to it. You have to take responsibility for it and own it. It's okay to acknowledge the fact that you are struggling with something. It's okay to acknowledge the fact that you're hurt or still in pain. You're learning how to move forward, and you're learning how to release it from yourself and release others. Nobody deserves to be in a prison with like a sad version of themselves, or a person that's always pushing somebody else away. You deserve to be free. And that's what it's all about. So I hope this video helped you. If you haven't already, go and check out my other videos. I will link the Christians and mental health on the side. Till next time, happy healing.